News is breaking just all the time about the Nintendo Switch 2. Today, we're learning about how it's able to play Nintendo Switch 1 games. It turns out it's not hardware based. There's a little bit of tomfoolery going on there. We can tell because some games can't run at all. Some games have some issues. Nintendo has a little list on their website. If you just Google Nintendo Switch 2, Nintendo Switch 1 compatibility or something, you'll come across this website which shows you that 122 Nintendo Switch games work and over 15,000 partner games work just fine. But if you scroll down more, you'll find these two little PDFs. One of them says that there's a bunch of games with startup issues. All of these games. That's actually quite a few. And then this other PDF is games that are playable but have a couple of quirks. And it tells you, it tells you that they're all being investigated. And why is this? It's the Nintendo Switch 2. Shouldn't it be able to play Nintendo Switch 1 games? Well, there was an interview with some people who worked on the Switch 2, and they got straight to the point. Saying that it's similar to the situation with the 3DS and the DS, where those games were hardware compatible because there was literally just a DS inside of the 3DS. However, Switch 2 doesn't contain any Switch hardware. Does that mean that the Switch and Switch 2 aren't compatible at a hardware level? Exactly. This time we decided to take on the challenge of using new technology to run Switch games. If we tried to use technology like software emulators, we'd have to run Switch 2 at full capacity, but that would mean the battery wouldn't last so long. So we did something that's somewhere in between a software emulator and a hardware capability. I can't read. So what they're referring to is sort of a translation layer. They even said, is it like having Switch games simultaneously translated for the Switch 2? That's right. It's being real-time translated because the hardware is not compatible. The closest thing we have to this, a great example, is how Steam Deck games work with the Proton translation layer. If you want to run a game, it's running the Windows version of the game in Proton. These are all different compatibility layers. Or it's Proton, there's Wine, there's a lot of different translation layers that are out there right now. So it's kind of emulation, but not really. It's also just really interesting to hear Nintendo utter the words emulation because they don't like hearing that. So now we understand a little bit more why not every single game is going to work and why they're a little cagey about saying that all of the games are going to be backwards compatible, because there are some issues here or there because it's running in a translation layer